You know, it could be said that because I'm in media, I have an ego. I'll take it a step further. I'll say it's a hot, fevered ego. But sometimes I really like it when somebody comes along and proves me wrong. And this is one of those delightful times. I've said before that I think with certain gun systems that there's only so far you can take it. There's only so much recoil you can tame. There's only so much tactile take-up you can get rid of in the trigger. You can only take a gun so far. And then Steve Fisher of Sentinel Concepts, he told me about this guy that... his name is Joe Chambers, Chambers Custom Guns. Specializes in the 1911, 2011/2019 because he's actually put his stuff on it. He specializes in that kind of thing. And this is not a review. The review is coming. This is not a review. This is an admission of sticking my own foot down my throat. Because I believed that there was only so far you could take a thing. I didn't believe that there was a way to tame anything beyond a certain point. I've shot a lot of really nice pistols, especially a lot of nice 1911, 2011 type pistols. Nighthawk, STI, I've shot a lot of nice ones. But I was wrong. I kind of thought I might be wrong, though. So to that end, I just started a new segment on the show weekly called the 1911 University with Joe Chambers because Joe is he's like a Leonardo da Vinci in a way, simply because he looks at a gun the way a Formula One project manager would look at a car. Every little part has got to do its part. And Joe looks at a 1911, 2011 / he calls it a 2019 because he's actually changed things. He's actually changed a few things that go beyond what is normal with a 1911. To that end, this is called the NightFighter. This is Joe Chambers' personal NightFighter. This is a double-stack magazine. His come with 18-round magazines. Few characteristics you're going to see about this gun. First off, it has no front sight at all. None. The other thing about this that is not apparent unless you look really close, you'd have to have like a micrometer or a pair of glasses on to see. What he's done with the optic is he's taken the optic and actually angled it down in the mount a little bit to where it's actually in line with the barrel. So when you present, like for me, I've got astigmatism. So normally when I'm lining up a sight, I have to close one eye. But when you present here, the dot is there immediately. He's got this front sight here. That actually shows up in the optic. I don't know if you can see that or not. Maybe I can zoom in on it. I'm not sure. But when you present, you can see the front sight on it. The trigger is not skeletonized. It's simply flat. And for him, he has set it, I think he told me, to 3.5 pounds. With a whisper of take-up. But I've shot lots of guns that they've got nice triggers on them. The grip, the lower. Now the lower, he'll be the first one to tell you, he buys the lower parts from STI. And he puts his own special touch to it, where STI calls this, their finish is called tree bark. This is a little more textured. And this is, like I said, this is set to Joe Chambers' this is his personal gun. This has already had 8,500 rounds through it. Another thing you're going to notice is there's no distinguishing marks on this gun at all. None. Except for the serial number right there, and that's it. when you run the slide, it feels like a tuning fork. So right away, he's already checked off the box on easy presentation with an optic. Better than anybody I've ever seen. The trigger. The trigger is really, 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 really good. But surely somebody could figure out how to make one really, really, really good too, right? So after you've done all of that, the trigger, the presentation, all that's left is how do you mitigate recoil? And see, for me, I thought that I had already seen the epitome of what was true recoil mitigation with some of the other guns I fired. And I was wrong. So that's just a quick look at what this gun is, the NightFighter. I think with people like me that have a bunch of guns that come through, I think sometimes we have a tendency to get jaded, and then it takes somebody like Joe to jar you back awake and say, no, this is actually a little different. This is not to say, I mean, this is the kind of gun, this is where you go and you say, this is the epitome of custom. I mean, this is the Bentley of the 1911/2011, and he calls these 2019s. Of this platform, we have reached the pinnacle. There is no higher peak than this. But we're going to take it out to the range and we're going to shoot it. And while we're sitting here, he's building me a gun. So there's more to follow. You can catch 1911 University with Joe Chambers on Lock and Load Radio. He comes on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday. We're going to do this for a while because there are a lot of people that they are 1911 purists. And I mean, single action is my favorite kind of trigger. 1911 is my favorite kind of grip angle. What's not to like? If you like this kind of content, and I hope you do, maybe give me a thumbs up. Maybe give me a subscribe. That's all the feedback I get because YouTube isn't giving me any. And hey, next time we talk, we'll have this out on the range, looking at what it can do. I'm out of here.